What's going on, everyone? Russ Lyman here, and in today's video I'll be discussing my thoughts and impressions on the series Bioshock. Now, believe it or not, I never played a Bioshock game before this. I know the series premiered back in 2007. It was on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, but I was never really big into first-person style games, first-person shooters, puzzles, and all that. That kind of all changed when the game Doom came out on PS4, and I loved Doom growing up. I played it in the original PC version when I was in high school, and I had to give this one a go. And after playing it for a little bit, I actually started streaming this game. This was one of the very first games that I started streaming, and I had a great time with it. So I said, what other first-person shooter-style games could I play? And that's when I came across the Bioshock series. I found out they released it on PS4 as a collection, and I got it for 15 bucks, so that's a steal. Alright, so let's talk about the first game, Bioshock, the first one. I thought it had a great story, visuals were awesome, and mechanics and the weapons were really cool. It had a great atmosphere. I played with headphones on so I could hear all the creepy talking in the background, and I had the lights off. It was definitely a good time and put me in the mood. I did enjoy the different types of plasmids, all the cool little weapons you get to have in there. Although I didn't use all of them to the full effect, I kind of just geared towards my favorite two. I like setting people on fire or using like electricity and stuff like that. Those are always good. And let's talk about the twist at the end. Atlas is actually a bad guy. It was cool that they put in that saying, "Would you do this kindly?" and it was subliminally in your head that you would have to go do what he said. And I just thought that was a cool twist and enjoyed it. I did end up getting stuck on facing a lot of the big daddies in the game, or even some of the regular enemies. I actually turned down the difficulty just to easy so I can enjoy the gameplay and the story of it and not have to worry about being great at the game and whatnot. Although it did have a nice mechanic in the game, when you did die and respawn, any energy that you took off a Big Daddy would still stay at that level. So you could just get a little bit off of them, get killed, come back again, and repeat. And yes, if you're wondering, I did save all the little sisters. I didn't harvest any of them to get extra Adam. I couldn't bring it to myself to harvest the adorable little sisters, so I went the good route. I felt like also playing on easy, you don't really need that much Adam to get upgrades and all that. It's definitely not necessary. Moving on to Bioshock 2. I was super excited to play this one because you get to play as a Big Daddy. How cool is that? Have that awesome massive drill you can punch people with and just drill right through them. This one I ended up blowing through in I think 2 or 3 days. Again, I did play on easy, so it was a little bit easier and faster to progress in the game, but I mainly just wanted to enjoy the story and gameplay. I wasn't looking for a challenge. Now, I can see this was a cool concept because at the end of the first game, you did have to get parts of a Big Daddy outfit in order to become a Big Daddy, so it was kind of like foreshadowing, like, hey, guess what? Next game, you're going to be full-on Big Daddy. I thought this game opened up pretty shockingly. The opening scene shows you as a Big Daddy, and there's a little sister there, and whoever the scientist is makes you shoot yourself in the head. I was like, oh my god. Right out the gate, they're going for shock factor. But you do come back to life. The little sister somehow found a way to revive you, and now you're trying to get back to her and save her. Now, definitely the melee combat was my favorite. I did the best to upgrade the drill so I could use it as much as I can, just smashing people. I tried to conserve ammo, so I figured the drill's the easiest. It only used gasoline when you want to actually drill into someone. And I did like how they switched up the hacking in this. It was a little bit easier. Instead of moving all those pipes around and everything, you could just run up to a machine and hit the button when it stopped on the green or the blue, and you're able to hack it. So that took less time and it was more enjoyable, I thought. Other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed the game, beat it. The ending was kind of interesting. I went back and watched a few of the other endings. When you come out of the water and you do get to save the little sister and all that. It seemed kind of sad the way it ended, but it is what it is. Alright, moving on to the Big Daddy, Bioshock Infinite. This one's definitely different from the other two because it takes place in the sky. A lot of bright colors and definitely a different atmosphere. I did like that you start off in a rowboat and you arrive at the lighthouse. The lighthouse kind of bridges all the games together. Okay, you're like, there's the lighthouse. I remember that in the first one and the second one. So yeah, you end up getting to the lighthouse and then you take a kind of like rocket ship chair up into Columbia, and that's the main place where you're playing the game. And it was a little bit different. Instead of using the plasmids for your special weapon, it was called Vigors. And it was kind of similar. They had a fire one and one that took over the mind of someone. A little bit different mechanic, but... And you're playing as Booker. He kind of lost his memory a little bit, and he's a detective trying to save his daughter. That's kind of all you know, and the story unfolds as you play the game. So as I progressed during this game, it definitely got intense, and the story was all over the place. It definitely took a bit to follow, and it was more involved than the last two games. It had me keep playing because I wanted to see where the story was going. So again, I beat this in a couple days as well. Some things I missed, they didn't have the hacking anymore in the systems, and I missed the voices to the machines. That was like a small touch in the other ones, and that just wasn't here in this game. You do get a partner that ends up helping you out, that you break her out of this tower that she's being held captive in. Her name's Elizabeth, and she has some special power where she could kind of see into another dimension and open tears. Very cool mechanic. Sometimes you wouldn't be able to get somewhere, and she can see a tear in another place, and you can use that to get through the building or whatever you're stuck at. You finally get to the end of the game, and you realize everything comes full circle and unravels, and you're playing as Booker, but he's also Comstock as well. Oh man. You're Comstock. There's a pivotal point in the game where Booker was getting a baptism, and whether he decided to get the baptism, he would then take the new name and be Comstock, or if he refused it, he would still stay as Booker and kind of drive himself mad. And it was cool how they tied that all together, and then you started going to the lighthouse and there was different realities. So many different realities when different things took place, but it all came back together. Like either you became Booker or you became Comstock, and they had to kill you in order to stop the cycle. Mind blown. I looked up so many videos of theories and the ending explained and watched those. I was just like, what is going on with this story? But one thing I really did like is the DLC that was included in this game. With the DLC in Bioshock Infinite, you actually get to play back at Rapture before everything went down. So you get to see it at its full potential, how it was made for, and the people enjoying themselves. It takes place, I think, the day before the riots start. And I'd say I had a blast playing through the DLC on that. It was great to be back in Rapture and kind of tie it together a little bit, and you get to see everything in its glory. Really nice touch. So overall, I had a great time playing the Bioshock series. Will we see more of this? I don't think so. It's been quite some time, so I don't think they're going to do any sequels or other ports. Some people maybe asked if there was going to be a port to the Switch, but... So I definitely highly recommend it if you guys haven't played it, or if you guys played it before and you want to re-experience it, the PS4 version here with the collection is a great way to do that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know what favorite Bioshock game might have been yours. And as always, gamers, I'm Russ Lyman, and keep your world fun bit by bit. I'll see you next video. And I want to give a super shout out to all my Patreon supporters: Joey Ellis, George Sandoval, Joseph Riviera, Joe Sheevy, David Apuzzo, Maynard, Dr. Pest, Nintendo, Brian Culpepper, TechWizX, and everyone on my Patreon page. Link below if you want to join.